Okay, so the most adventurous time in my life was last semester or last fall when I decided to go to Thailand on a whim for 6 months. Even though I had never been out of the country, I didn't even have a passport. I decided on Thailand because I was looking at study abroad programs, and my university offers one in Sweden that has a lot of environmental and political science courses, but it was too expensive and I couldn't go. So I was looking at a lot of other programs, and for me, studying abroad, I didn't really care where I went. I was hoping to go somewhere in Europe just because that's like the study abroad thing to do. But the opportunity for Thailand came up and it had courses that I was really interested in, like sustainable agriculture and an internship opportunity. And I was looking through and I was like, okay, yeah, I'll do that. And so I got to do that. I was there for about 6 months. I did not know the language. I was very culture shocked for a long time while I was there. Um, it kind of took a while to adjust and it was a little frustrating, but it was fine. Like, I loved it. I had the greatest experience of my life. I got to travel all throughout Southeast Asia by myself. Um, Something I never did because I never left the country. I learned how to go on a plane for a long time because I don't really, I wasn't riding on airplanes a lot before that. I'm from the Midwest. I grew up in Chicago, raised in Chicago. I went to college in Chicago. So I've always stayed very local to where I was from. I'd say the farthest my family ever went on vacation was Florida before that, and we would drive there. So I, didn't really have a lot of experiences before that, but I got the experience to travel everywhere, to not only see a lot of things, but to experience a lot of new cultures. I went to Cambodia. I backpacked Vietnam for a month. I got to hang out in Hong Kong. I got to hang out in Bangkok. I went to the like Krabi, like the Thai islands. I went to Bali, and I felt it was very freeing experience for me to understand how much I actually really like to travel. I didn't have that side of me, but my favorite part of traveling was experiencing culture, was to experience new food, really spicy food I couldn't even handle, or languages I didn't really understand, but I'm trying my best to like be respectful. There's a lot of customs I had to learn. I had to learn how to why and how to properly why. I even took a class on just cultures, so I wouldn't be offensive. That was my main concern, was that I didn't want to seem like I was so Western. I wanted to kind of blend in a little bit more and be a little bit more low key when I was going through all of these different countries, especially when I was in Chiang Mai, because Chiang Mai was my favorite place to be. I learned Thai language. I only know enough to like order food and to have small conversations. Obviously, I don't know the entire language, but it was incredible that I was able to learn something like that, even though all I know right now is, I mean, Spanish and English, but that's just from growing up in Chicago. So my experience abroad was my favorite time in my life. And that's what I kind of want to continue, is having those experiences and making those connections with people. I mean, I never felt so free and full of just like wanting to be adventurous and wanting to, do things on my own, when I never wanted to do that beforehand. So that was a really transformative time for me, and it made me realize that I don't think that I could ever sit in an office 9 to 5 every day when I graduate college in a few months. That's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for an experience. I'm looking for something that's going to drive me. And I know I have a lot of passion. I know I have a lot of drive, but traveling was something that drove me, that pushed me out of my comfort zone. 100%. It pushed me out of my comfort zone and made me just the stronger person that I am today. So I always thank my study abroad experience. I know a lot of people do, no matter where you went. But for me, it was crazy that the first thing I decided to visit outside of Chicago, Illinois, was a brand new culture that I didn't even research too much beforehand, because I was just like, you know what, like, I'll figure it out when I get there. Maybe I should have researched a little bit, but for me, it was all about letting the experience just take itself. And just having like that control over everything was my favorite part about traveling abroad.